I'd go from bronze to mythic if I could only open some rares.
That's freaking terrible.
But we'll work hard to solve the format.
7 wins.
And I'm sure we'll make it there.
All right, what's up, my friends? Welcome to Bronze and Mythic, episode 22. Not only are we Mythic, we're Mythic 100%. What does that mean? I don't know. Ladder just reset, so it's just a little screwy right now. But we did it. We made Mythic. It took 21 drafts, and this is going to be the format retrospective. What does that mean? It means I'm going to go through my untap.gg stats, and we're going to look at every single deck, the total run, my stats, and everything else. Again, if you don't use Untapped, you should, because Untapped is unbelievable. Please use my download link in chat or my download link on the YouTube description, because it's a free to download. It's super awesome, and it's great. It's super, super awesome. So download Untapped.gg. You can track your stats, your drafts, and everything else, just like you're about to see right now. So Bronze and Mythic Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It took us 21 drafts, and we actually set the line at 21.5. So
Bingo!
just made it. And so far my best is Kaldheim in 17 drafts. Ikoria was 18 drafts. I think Midnight Hunt was 20 drafts. Crimson Vow was like 32. It was awful. And Strixhaven was 25. That's the current Bronze and Mythics right now. So pretty good run overall. I do want to remind everyone that if you're going to watch the YouTube videos later, if you missed any of the episodes and want to not be spoiled, there will be spoilers for every draft and missed episode. So you might want to skip this till later and watch it on YouTube. Just a fair warning. Also, YouTube folks, like, comment, subscribe, because you're all great. All right, so pretty good run overall. We had a 68% win rate, which is fine. It's pretty good. Almost 70%. Of the 21 drafts, we had 8 7-win runs. Took us about 27 hours of actual gameplay. And we can see here our color performance. We were green a lot. And we're actually, it's funny, we drafted black-white a lot, but it was pretty bad. I think this was our worst performing deck, aside from like the one-shots. The black-white decks just had no real feel, and they just couldn't really beat the grindy green decks, whereas green was awesome. We can see here, blue-green, Abzan, great win rates here. Green-white, pretty good win rate. Bant, pretty good win rate. It was only one draft, I guess, but now we're in the smaller sample sizes. But so the story of the entire series was green. Green. And we still had a lot, because the green's very good in this set. We'll see that going over the drafts. There's a lot of really good grindy recursive stuff, which is really, really good. This is a challenging series from the first draft, where, there's a lot of words in these cards. If you're still new to the format, don't feel bad if your first 5 drafts are a mess, because there's a lot to read. You can see our first deck here was a black-white deck. We were trying to leverage the you have one artifact and one enchantment theme. Cards like Assassin's Ink and so on and so forth, especially for Hidetsu, Kami of Secrets. And this deck was definitely fine, if somewhat unexciting. We had a Naomi and some stuff. Definitely some kind of stinkers here. Bargains kind of Terrarium obviously can turn some stuff on. Blade Blesser, Scrounger, all just kind of like okay. A little trash bot action.
Still a piece of garbage.
Just like an okay deck. We got a Shrine. We had a Bomb. This deck only went 5-3, which honestly surprises me a little bit at 5-3 in Bronze, because the deck does seem fine, but it happens. So that was our first deck, black-white. Issue we found with the black-white decks was that we weren't really able to kind of go over the top of the green decks, which would obviously grind really well. So, let me get back here. So that was draft number 1. Draft number 2 was, I can actually look at it up here. There we go. Look at it over here. So draft number 2 was a blue-green deck. This deck went 5-3 also. Kind of a weird deck. We were sort of like, kind of learning what the green cards did, and messing with some ninja stuff. Kind of played some low power level cards here. And this one was only okay. Moonsnare, Perpetuals was kind of cool. Went kind of small. Wasn't really utilizing the green cards super well. And a light splash of black for Gloomstreaker, which is a very smart thing to do, I guess. But only got 5 wins in this one. 5 wins in this one. We move on to our third deck, which is also, this is actually blue-green. But this deck we were starting to get a little bit. So we had Double Fang, Generous Visitor. Still playing Familiar, which is pretty bad. Capture is pretty bad also. But we had Double Tech Wrecker, Double Modern Age. More enchantments in the deck overall, which is important. Side note, I'm super sad I never got to trigger this card. We had it in multiple decks with Modern Age could never do it. Could never do it. But Wisdom, Moonsnare, again, kind of a weirder deck. A couple bigger cards, kind of again, sort of like a somewhat aggressive blue-green deck. But it worked. We went 7-0 this one, or 7-1, I'm sorry. But Fang really important. Record's pretty insane. Not bad. Not bad. Deck number 4 was a Esper deck. And just kind of a mess, honestly. Some okay cards. Again, this card's really, really bad. The Familiar. It's like just really, really not great unless you're playing on artifacts. A lot of artifacts in this deck. We had the Automaton, and we had Tashimi, which is really, really good. A couple Scroungers, though. A couple Brutsu. Just like a lot of kind of wham-bam cards. Not particularly great. Not super exciting. Deck was only okay. We had a green-white deck here. Starting to get the feel for the deck. This is the first deck where I felt like we actually had a deck. Our first 4 decks were just like piles of cards. By draft number 5, I was starting to get a feel for the format and understand like what things I wanted to be doing. You really got to draft a deck in this format. You don't want to just be playing cards. And this deck was an enchantment aggro deck. Regis Authority, Companion, Kami was great. Tech Wrecker, Roaring Earth was okay. I love that card. A lot of enchantment creatures, Touch Spirit Realm, Double Moths, Soul Kamigawa, Teshiro. These sagas are really important for aggressive decks. Getting in the air, doing stuff like that. Deck wasn't like insanely powerful, but it was just fine. Went 5-3, but I felt like we were starting to get a feel for it. Next deck was a really, really cool Rakdos Artifact deck. Same idea. Starting to actually like build a deck here. Synthesizers, Eater of Virtue, nice low curve, removal spells. Tribute to Orobi is a cool card, pretty risky card. We had like an entry. We had 3 Smelters and 3 Terrariums, which was super awesome. And this deck had an issue of half the games we popped off super hard, just crushed our opponent. And then half of the games we did nothing and just kind of like died. So it wasn't really there yet, but kind of a cool thing. You also can't count on getting 3 Smelters every draft, but was a cool deck. Never ended up being Rakdos again, but it was pretty cool. Blue-white deck for a 7-win run here. Pretty sweet deck here. A lot of ninjas. Some cheap creatures like Mothfire Patrol, Disruptor, Hotshot Mechanic for some 1-drops, leading into Hackers and Friends, and just a pretty solid ninja deck, honestly. It's kind of cool being blue-white ninjas instead of blue-black. Prototype's pretty good. Moonsnare Specialist. This deck also said 3 of this card. Don't ever pass this card. Please. Don't ever pass this card. Mythic Uncommon. Absolutely busted. Our opponents were very, very sad when we cast Behold on turn 5 and then Behold on turn 6. So, next deck was another enchantment deck. This deck was really good. We had Double Fang. We had this card, Shigeki, was probably our best rare in the format. If not the best, then we're very, very good. We had, Fades, removal spells, 3 Triple Oath. Just a good, big, long game enchantment deck. Pretty sweet. We had a 7-0 with a pretty cool ninja deck. I don't remember this thing like that well, but cheap creatures, Disruptor, cool ninja stuff happening. Our only real, true ninja deck. We have Mind Link Mech, which is pretty good. I love Suit Up in these ninja decks. I think this card's really, really good. Super underrated. Your opponent wants to block basically every turn against their ninjas, and they're all pretty small. This card is just a wild size. It's just a 2-for-1, kills their thing, super great. Had him out, also pretty nice. So, pretty solid ninja deck here with the 7-0. Our next deck was another blue-black ninja deck. This one with a Fat 03. The Fat 03 here. Not a terrible deck. I mean, we had Double Hacker. We had some 1-drops, a couple good kill spells. Gravelighter, Specialist. Don't really know what happened with this one, honestly. This deck does look pretty good. But what are you going to do? We had a green deck, and now we're starting to get into our green mid-range piles, which is end up being a lot of a series. Just a lot of green decks. Commune Spirits, Fang of Shigeki, Fade into Antiquity, Seasons of Renewal, Geothermal Kami, just all these commons that you can pick up for green for a super grindy deck, which is really cool. Big sagas like Beseiju and Long Reach of a Night for sure. Definitely, this is a synergy format, but there's a lot of power in the uncommons. It's not really a rares format, it's more of an uncommons format. There's just a lot of really good uncommons, and you really got to make sure you have your deck set up for them. So this deck had Long Reach of a Night, Reaches Skyward, Umezawa Saga. So had a lot of good cards to build towards. Circuit Mender, pretty sweet. Sky Turtle. So having those really big, powerful uncommon cards pretty important. We did a 1 Samurai deck. It wasn't even really Samurais. You're basically just mono white splashing red. We had Invoke Justice. You can see here, playing 12 planes, a couple Kami's Flares or whatever. Ray and Truth Insane, one of those mythic uncommons, super, super good. This deck went 5-3. Red-white decks are pretty bad. They have no late game at all. They can't compete with the green decks usually. So not super impressed with that one. Moving on to our next deck was Abzan. Just a perfect Abzan deck. Again, same thing. We have a couple good rares here. We got Kami. We got Jukin Defensive Temple, super great. Gloom Shrieker, more good sagas, good late game, good early game with Fang, Communes. I think Commune is awesome. Just super, super good in these decks if your deck's drafted right. It's just like a 1-mana ponder, basically, which is awesome. Allows you to cheat on lands a little bit, too. Super. This is like a picture-esque version of what you want to do in this format. Just like green, probably black, maybe splash color here or there. The good thing about these green decks also is that you can just play basically any rare you open, which is super great. But Ponder's a 1-mana ponder, Jim. And black-white deck, every black-white deck we drafted felt very mopey. It didn't necessarily look bad. Fiston, for example, had, it had some stuff going on. I guess it wasn't really that good. This deck's pretty bad. But, yeah, whatever. Deck's just bad. I don't know. Invoke Spare was good. Farewell was okay, but just that wasn't great. Another good Abzan deck. Just same idea. This one had 2 Shigekis. This is one of the best rares you can open because it's just an infinite engine with Seasons of Renewal. You just get back Shigeki and something else. Channel Vis, get back Seasons and something else. And you have infinite cards forever. It's a good 2-drop also. This card's unreal. This card's just unreal good. And this deck was also unreal good. Good removal spells, good sagas, good early defense. Just great deck. Great deck. Another black-white deck. This might have been my favorite deck, in theory. This deck was super, super cool. So this deck was a black-white deck with like 8 2-drops. Companion, we had Prowler, Triple Beetle, and then we had double Recovery Unit and double Gravelighter. So we were like the Beetle Recovery Gravelighter deck. Which felt really, really cool, but it just wasn't good enough. It just couldn't beat the green decks. So I think we went 3-0 against non-green decks and 0-3 against green decks. Next deck was an ugly green-white 0-3 of a deck that looked pretty good to me. This deck had Tech Wrecker, it had double Balance Vigor, double Reign of Truth, double Companion, super low curve, Naturalist. This deck felt awesome, and we just got really, really unlucky. We just ran really, really bad this draft. This deck was great. Just bad beats, it happens. Another green deck. This one was Bant this time. We had a Tezzeret, so we're a little more artifacty. Kind of a weird spin of a deck, a little more rare focused here. We opened up a Dragon, we had Tezzeret, kind of like an artifact and enchantment thing going on here, which is a little weird for the green decks, but ended up working because how the other cards worked. A green-black 1-3, and this is a really good example of how this deck was, or how this format is based on uncommons and rares and stuff like that, as far as your green deck goes. This deck had everything you could want, basically. 14 lands, 5 communes, 3 fangs, nice low, clean curve, Tech Wrecker, we had Gloom Shrieker, we had a Beseju, but this deck has like 3 uncommons and no rares, and it just wasn't powerful enough to get things going. I don't think it deserved a 1-3, I think it was better than 1-3, but we just couldn't really do enough. I did misclick once this draft. This is like late at night, obviously. Whatever, but definitely not bad, but not as good as it looks. You really want to have the good uncommons in your deck, and this deck was kind of lacking in that. And then our 7-1 deck here to go up to almost Mythic was another green deck. This actually was a weird one, where I actually had a couple black cards in my board. We had... Where's the sideboard? We had a Long Reach of a Night, an Assassin's Ink, and a Twisted Embrace. However, we had in our main deck Invoke the Ancients, a pretty low curve, and I felt this deck would be better as a stompy deck. I didn't think it was a very good grindy black-green deck. We didn't really have all the good black-green grind engines. And we had Kodama, we had Invoke the Ancients, we had Double Journeys. So I was building this deck like a green stompy deck, and it worked out great. Double Emergence was very, very good in this deck. We were able to play Journeys on 2, play a 4-drop on 3, get the Emergences going, get the Invokes going. Double Tails of Master was super awesome. Still had a little grind here with, Seasons of Renewal and Sky Turtles also a loop. But deck was sweet. Deck was super cool, and I'm very, very pleased with how we laid this deck out and decided to draft it. So that was super sweet. That was a super sweet one. And our last draft was the draft we got Mythic with. That was last night. We made Mythic in the very first game. Kind of a mopey blue-white deck, somewhat similar to the black-white decks, where it was just kind of like cards. It was fine. Wasn't really bad, but wasn't really good either. Some synergies, nothing really great. Just okay. A couple of removal spells. We had a Farewell, which is an awkward card, honestly. Which is fine. Went 5-3, about what I'd expect from this deck, honestly. And that was it. That's the whole series. So a lot of green. I feel like I didn't get to explore some of the decks, honestly. You can see here, we were never red. Like, literally never red. We were red in exactly 2 drafts. And I think red is probably the weakest color. I wasn't necessarily trying to avoid red. I think that we were green very often, and red pairs poorly with green. So because of that, we like avoided red a little bit in that respect. But I would have loved to have been red. You know, like there's the cards never were really there. So you know, definitely a lot of green decks, a lot of green decks. Fun series overall. I think the set is very cool. I do think that the set is a little too unbalanced towards green at common. I think there are just like probably too many green grindy cards. Like the Kami of Hot Tub Kami should probably be an uncommon, or Seasons should be an uncommon, or honestly the one with Death Touch should be an uncommon. Just like get less of those in the draft, and then maybe tweak it uncommon or two. Because the green cards are just really, really good. I mean, just every draft, you're just green, 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 green. And it feels kind of frustrating when you're not a green deck because you know you're going to go up against their grind, just like can't really grind through them, which kind of sucks. But aside from that, pretty fun format. Still a lot to explore, honestly, as far as like different archetypes. I wish green wasn't as strong. Definitely think it's real, real true. There were a lot of games where we weren't playing green. We were playing against green. There's a lot of games overall when we were playing green against not green, or playing not green against green, that were just in garbage time. Where we just like, either we were crushing on resources or being crushed by a green deck on resources and just like couldn't do anything and felt helpless. And I was not a good feeling. So I think the format's a little off in that respect. I think green's a little too good, but otherwise a lot of fun. So that's the series again. Down on tap.gg, track your own stuff. Yeah, a lot of fun. Great series. Made the under, which is great, on my prediction, which is super awesome. Had a lot of fun. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, obviously. If you're watching on YouTube, watching on Twitch, make sure you leave comments, leave likes, comments, subscribe, do all the things. I'm going to try and start the next Bronze and Mythic earlier. I want to do it like the day after 10 New Brews and really get in on the first day. We didn't start drafting until like the following Monday or Tuesday, and it had already been out for like 5 days, and I feel like we were already behind when we started it. I want to really start on day 1 next time. So that's the plan. But yeah, for sure. So Bronze and Mythic. Let's hear it, Bronze and Mythic. YouTube folks, love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching Bronze and Mythic, and I'll see you next time on Bronze and Mythic. You're all great. Watch other stuff too. My YouTube setup, all the stuff everywhere. Go watch it.